In every moment of time, we are transcending realities in a journey to a destination unknown, beyond the limits of human endeavor, far past our knowledge and science. Our destiny is awaiting us, just over the horizon and into that undiscovered country that truly exists beyond the boundaries of all that we can imagine. There are things known and there are things unknown, and in between are the doors of perception, and the doorways of perception are open. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I am your humble host, Dennis Carroll, and this is episode 13 of Paranormal Point of View. Good to have you here with us tonight. We've got a big itinerary tonight. Got a big program to go here, and let me get my little ticker up here. It's got all the good copyright stuff on there and everything. If you've ever read it, it's kind of long, but it works. Want to say hello to everybody out there, to my fellow shadow hunters out there, and my light warriors. Come on in. Let's gather in the grotto tonight. We've got a big show ahead of us. We're going to take the strange train to the destination of paranormal point of view. And it's going to be quite a journey tonight. Okay, folks, you're going to hang in there with us. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Kyle. Hello, Midwest. My brother Midwest and Shiro, of course. Hello, dear. And Abbott. Hello, Abbott Hoffman. Good to have you here. Rhonda. I hope we have enough gathering in here. Not too many latecomers tonight. So I'm like a horse at the starting gate. I'm a racehorse at the starting gate. I'm ready to go here. They've turned the wolves loose tonight. Okay, folks. And it's going to be an interesting journey, I hope, for all of us out there. Hello, girl and her gong. And I've got a lot of ground to cover tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the conspiracy of conspiracy theories. Yes, you heard that right. The conspiracy of conspiracy theories. Now, this is kind of freaky. So you're going to enjoy this one, though, definitely. We've got some news to talk about. We've got a movie review. I've got a movie review for you. And we're definitely going to get into that. Don't have a book review this week, but we'll definitely I'm going to review next week. And, if the creeks don't rise, Lord willing, we'll get to Gary Wayne's book, okay? I've got it done, and I'm going to definitely do a review on it, okay? So you hang in there for that. And also, I'm going to start a new segment on the show where I'm going to be, we call it Paranormal You and Paranormal Point of View. That's the name of it. You and Paranormal Point of View. So I want you to be thinking about this because I'm going to get you on here as a guest just for, it won't be for the whole show, but we're going to get you on here maybe to talk about some of your paranormal experiences, okay? So remember, we'll do that from time to time. It's called You and Paranormal Point of View, okay? And we want to hear your paranormal point of view, definitely. So get ready. And, of course, all the really, truly beautiful, classy, sexy women watch my podcast, okay? So you girls don't have to worry about looking good, okay? When we put you on here, you already look good, okay? It's the guys I want to talk about. But then I won't get on their case tonight. But anyway, seriously, though, I want to have a little segment where we can invite you on for a few minutes to tell about maybe whatever paranormal experience you've had or someone you know has had, those to you or whatever. We want to hear your point of view, okay? That's what this show is all about. It's not just my point of view. It's your point of view, too. That's what's most important here. And we're going to definitely set that up, okay? And it's very simple. Very simple. All I do is send you a link If you don't know, all I do is I send you a link in your Facebook Messenger, and you click on that, and it will take you directly into the studio, and then I can put you in the studio whenever you're ready. And we put you there. It's no big deal, and it's easy peasy. Okay, I handle most of it from my end. You just got to do a few steps to get in. But I will explain that to you later on, what you have to do that. But we're going to definitely set that up. I want a little place for that. Also, I'm going to have another segment of paranormal point of view, where every week we're going to I call this paranormal pointer here, paranormal point of view pointer. We're going to point out a podcast. Okay, I'm going to point out a podcast for you to watch or to recommend to your friends. And tonight I'm going to start out with Jessica. Okay, the Cryptid Huntress. I'm going to talk about her podcast to start out with her. Next week I'm going to do Midwest Night Watchers. Okay, so I'm going to definitely do that. That's on tab for tonight as well. Okay, so we got a lot of ground to cover tonight, and along with the conspiracy theories, I'm going to be talking vampires, non-human entities, non-player characters. That's a weird subject. Where do you hear that? And some other stuff like that. Okay, we're going to be getting into a little bit of that, and also I'm going to be covering. We're going to have a segment on covering the 3 days of darkness. Okay, you're going to want to hear that. That's going to be towards the end of the program. You're going to want to definitely hear that. Okay, because I'm going to be talking about that and the strange prophecies around the 3 days of darkness, what it means, what's going on, will it really happen? And we know we do have an eclipse coming up. And I want to say something about the eclipses. I actually did an article for USA Today several years back when we had that full eclipse that last time, and they wanted to know a little bit about the paranormal slant on that. And yes, there is a pickup in paranormal activity during eclipses of the sun and the moon, by the way, because diabolical forces like it when it gets darker, no matter what. Okay, whether it's in the noonday or midnight, they love darkness. They are creatures and beings of darkness. So absolutely, paranormal activity will pick up in times like that. Okay, that's a well-known fact. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that tonight. We may do a show on the eclipse next week. We'll talk some more about that, maybe. Okay, and things you can expect during that. But there's some interesting stuff that surrounds that. Absolutely. But point out paranormal point of view point. Okay, and I'm going to point out my good friend, my dear good friend, Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, and she always has an excellent show. I know I'm on there a lot, and she always has excellent shows, and she's doing a new one now called On the Hunt on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You want to check that out tomorrow night, okay? And but she has about 4 shows on, and one of them I've been a guest on many times is a glitch in the matrix. Okay, that's a good show she has too, and she's covering a lot of ground. This lady knows her stuff, and I'm going to tell you what I always say about Jessica. I'm going to brag on her a little bit. I love the way she thinks. Okay, because she and I think a lot alike. And we got to cover the whole thing. We're not just stuck on one thing. We're not just stuck on cryptids, or we're not just stuck on this or that, or whatever the situation be. I love the whole pie, and she does too. So that's the way to go with this stuff. But I would say I'll recommend and point to her podcast this week, okay, that you check her out. And she can be, all you got to do is type in Cryptid Huntress on YouTube, and you'll go right to her channel, okay? So check her out, and it's definitely worth your while, all right? And she is a fantastic lady. I can't say enough about her. She is really a nice, very smart. To me, Smart women are sexy. Okay. That's just me. All right. But I mean, I like that in a woman, and she is definitely very smart. Okay. And she is a great gal. She got a great channel habit, definitely. So that's my first pointer there. And I'll be pointing at some more here. Okay. But we definitely want to, and if I don't know if anybody out there's got her link, if you could put it up, I would post it. If you've got Jessica's link, I would post it. I don't have it right here handy, but if maybe Shiro has it, I don't know. But if you would be so kind, Midwest or Shiro, to put that up for me, I would definitely. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Midwest. That's another great guy to have at your back there. Thank you, sir. That's my brother, Midwest Night Watcher. Okay, that's her. That's her YouTube thing there, and check her out. I'm pointing. Paranormal point of view is pointing at that. Okay, so there you go. That's a pointer for you. Check it out. If you haven't ever checked it out, check it out. All right. Thank you, sir. And all right, moving right along now. Like I said, we got a lot of ground to cover tonight. And let me get my itinerary up here. Now, I'm going to be. I want to talk a little bit about the. I want to talk a little bit about the conspiracy of conspiracy theories. Okay, that's what I want to start out with. So let me see what we've got here. All right. I'm getting my thing. It was very slow tonight for some reason. I don't know. It's getting like me, getting like slow like an old man here. But anyway. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then we're going to do vampires, non-human entities, soul eaters. That's another interesting one. Non-player characters. That's coming up shortly. But let's talk about the conspiracy of conspiracy theories. Okay. That's real. I know that sounds weird and that sounds strange, but here's how this goes, okay? If you're into conspiracy theories, okay? Hey, Susan Millie, welcome aboard. If you're into conspiracy theories, and I've always found them fascinating, what people will believe and all this other stuff, there's some interesting ones out there. And a lot of them may be very close to the truth. I'm not saying they're not, and some of them may be way off on that, okay? And some of them are way out. But they are, you got to remember, very important part of that title, theory, okay? Theory still means conjecture. Usually it means a scientific conjecture, but a lot of this stuff is not scientific, okay? But it is still conjecture. That's what we say about this show. We have a lot of conjecture here. Is it this? Is it that? We question things. We turn things around, look at them all different ways and all that. Anybody that has a podcast knows that stuff goes on, definitely. But of course, there are some people out there pushing conspiracy theories as fact without real true fact or evidence. Okay, there's an old saying I've always lived by. Carl Sagan started it, by the way. The very interesting Carl Sagan said, if you present something without evidence, it can be, released without evidence. In other words, if you present something without evidence, it can be dismissed without evidence. There is no evidence there. What? You shouldn't hold to it. And a lot of these conspiracy theories have no evidence. They're just conjecture, and you got to be very careful about what you believe and what you think you believe and all that. So you've got to be very careful when you navigate the world of conspiracy theories. But tonight I'm talking about the conspiracy of conspiracy theories. Now, I don't want to get you confused. I want you to listen real close to what that means. There is probably a governmental conspiracy pushing forth conspiracy theories and also trying to discredit anyone who even talks about conspiracy theories. So in order, that is a conspiracy about conspiracy theories. Okay, and they are using conspiracy theories to discredit people. So there is a conspiracy going on about that, and we know that this is a weapon that Hollywood uses, that the woke government uses, that the woke media uses. This is a weapon. They weaponize it. They use a racial weapon too, by the way. They'll call you a racist real quick, or they can dismiss you and discredit you by saying, "Oh, he's just a conspiracy theory nut. He's into conspiracy theories." But what if some of these conspiracy theories are real? What if some of them are true or very close to the truth? Okay. My favorite quote: every myth and legend known to mankind is not without its foundation, its authentic foundation. And that may even cover conspiracy theories. Okay? Think about it. There may be a little truth in a lot of these conspiracy theories. It may not be the whole conspiracy theory, but there may be a little truth in it. And we can't dismiss that fact because something always has an origin. And we're going to be talking more about origins of entities here in a few minutes. But every conspiracy theory definitely has an origin of some sort, okay, whether it's real, fabricated, or whatever the situation. That is like what's going on in the paranormal world today, especially in cryptozoology, UFOlogy, and in spirit research as well. All these AI-generated images that they're putting out there as being real things, do not believe it, folks, okay? AI is making it much better to produce fakery, okay? And we got to always remember that. Like Poe said, believe nothing that you hear and half of what you see. Now you can't believe anything you see, are they? Okay? Because that's what's going down with AI and a lot of this computer-generated stuff, okay? They can make it look real, but that doesn't make it real. Okay, remember that now. That's very important. They can make it look real, but that doesn't make it real. Okay, so don't get fooled by this stuff. But they are using conspiracy theories. There is a conspiracy of conspiracy theories, using it as a weapon against us. Okay, and to use it in a way to discredit us. They can ruin your life. Okay, if you are a paranormal investigative researcher, and you try to uphold the truth in all of your investigations, you don't want to fall. You would not believe how many times in my career, 55 plus years now, I'm getting old, I know, that how many times people have tried to fool me, tried to pull the wool over my eyes with all kind of fakery. I mean, I could write a book about it. That's how many times they've tried this kind of junk on me, okay? Luckily, I never fell for any of it. But if you were to fall for some of this stuff, they could absolutely ruin your career or whatever it is you're trying to do. I don't care what you're in, cryptozoology, whatever you're in. Guard your reputation as if it were gold in your bank, because it is. It's better than gold in your bank. You know, my father once told me many years ago, you're born into this world with nothing. Okay, I was anyway. You're born into this world with nothing, but you can leave it with one thing. There's one thing you can take with you, and that's a good name. And your good name is worth more than gold, my friends. Do not let these guys trick you. Do not let them discredit you and ruin your reputation, ruin your life by calling you, falsely accusing you of racism or conspiracy theories or lying or rumors or whatever they want to try to pull, whatever kind of little trick they're trying to pull. So beware of the conspiracy of conspiracy theories, because they are conspiring to use conspiracy theories to discredit you and ruin you. Okay, so be very careful with that. All right, that's what I want to talk about tonight, and that goes to everyone out there and all my friends who have podcasts. Please keep that in mind, okay? It's okay if you want to talk about conspiracy theories. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. No, go ahead and talk. I'm for freedom of speech, without a doubt. That's my number one thing. But be very careful, I'm saying, because this can be turned against you. It's a double-bladed knife that cuts both ways. Okay, be very careful, because they will definitely use this conspiracy against you. Okay. And so I just want to put that out there, and I may and I may bring it up again in another show, okay? Because it's very important, and people keep this in mind. And you have to have. I'm gonna tell you something. Thoughts like this are like hammers and nails. When it comes to people, you got to drive the nail in a little bit every time, okay? You got to drive the nail in. Finally, it penetrates, you know. My niece sent me a thing about autopsies just now, and I have actually attended autopsies, okay? And then I had to go to lunch, and that wasn't a very pleasant lunch afterwards. But anyway, I have attended autopsies. I know what instruments they use. I even have a bone saw that are used in autopsies. That's what they cut the skull or open with. I won't get into that. But anyway, I know all about the autopsies because I have attended them, but I watch, so I know what they do. And that's how you learn things. You know, you watch things, you learn all that. And me, I've always been into learning everything possible that you can do. But I have been attacked recently, uh, criticized, shall we say, recently, for talking about Wendigo and skinwalkers and the Yinalushi and all that. And I want to say this, okay? I'm not trying to discredit the Native American outlook on this. Oh, no, I very much respect that, okay? Because I learned a lot from them on these subjects of the Yinalushi, the skinwalkers, the Wendigo, and all that. The only thing I said that there are a lot of similarities with these things. They're not the same thing. I realize that, and I'm not trying to paint them in the same or in the wrong light. I would never do that. But I will stand by the fact that there are some similarities with these things, along with the werewolves and stuff like that. There are some magical similarities. They're not the same thing. I realize that. I know that. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you this. I don't say this to a lot of people, okay? I know what the ceremony for skinwalkers is, okay? I mean, I know what it is. I know what they do to accomplish what it is they do. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I can't tell about it, okay? Because I made a promise. I can never tell about it. I can never reveal what it is, but I know what it is, okay? And I know what things have to be done to accomplish these things, okay? So I want to say, you know, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there are many similarities. Anybody that studies the paranormal and supernatural knows without a doubt, in all the many different people, there are similarities, there are connections. Okay, I stand by that definitely. So that's what's going on with that. Okay, but I've got some criticism about that, but they're taking me the wrong way. Okay, but anyway, I'm not going to get on here trying to defend myself on it because people are going to criticize you anyway. You know, you got a lot of know-it-alls out there that think they are experts in everything. And like I said so many times before, and I stand by this statement, in this field and all the fields of the paranormal, there are no experts. That includes me. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning stuff. Okay. After all these years, I still learn new stuff all the time. Nothing wrong with that. When you quit learning, they're ready to shovel dirt in your face. Okay. You might as well be. There are no experts. So do not push yourself off as an expert. You're not. You're just fooling yourself and other people. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. But anyway, okay. See what people are saying here. Hit the thumbs up, ring that bell. Thank you, sir. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Okay. And some wavelength nose leaves chopping at the same time. Okay, I'm glad we're all on board the same thing tonight. But anyway, that's part of the program tonight. Okay, so I'm gonna get now into some weird stuff. Of course, you know one of my favorite subjects is vampires. Okay. And I've talked about this before, and yes, I did actually, I think, meet one time, okay? But I'm not going to get into that tonight. That's a story for another time. But, and I'm sure you all have heard the story by now, so I'm not going to repeat it for you. But anyway, There are different types of vampires, okay? And I want to stress that point again. You have supernatural vampires and you have human vampires, okay? And now I'm gonna look. This, the human vampires want to be vampires. They have societies. They hang around and drink each other's blood and wear their goth stuff. Okay, that's what they do. That's okay if that's what they want to do. That's what they're gonna do. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about the more supernatural type vampires. Now hold on a minute. There are different types of supernatural vampires. Okay, and I've talked about this before. There is such a thing as demonic reanimation of the dead. I'll repeat that again for you. Demonic reanimation of the dead. This is dark necromancy, okay? Very dark stuff. Very evil. The height of evil. It doesn't get much more evil than that, okay? Necromancy. Bad stuff. Bad juju. Okay. Demonic reanimation of the dead is exactly what that means. It means a demon goes into a dead body and reanimates that dead body, makes it walk around and do things, okay? Now, I'm not talking about zombie now, okay? This is a different thing altogether. This is a vampire in that respect. Now, there's another kind of vampire. Now, listen to this. You gotta separate the two here. There is another vampire that is a person. Okay, listen to this. It is a person who is possessed by a vampire spirit. And it can be either a dead or living person. Okay, so now I have talked about this before, and this is getting deep into demonology, and I'm not going to be doing that tonight. But anyway, this is deep demonology stuff here. You can, if you die possessed by demon spirits, they can reanimate your body. You're still in it, but you're possessed with a vampire spirit, okay? So you're not actually all demon. There's a little bit of human kind of left in you, but you're dead, okay? Your spirit is trapped in there with that demonic spirit. That's a bad thing when you think about it, okay? That way, even death does not free you from the demonic influence that has been over you. That is another type of vampire. Now, that usually is the vampire that sucks blood, okay? Dracula would have been more like that, okay? But now the other kind of vampire, the demonic reanimated dead vampire, lives off of the essence of your soul. He's a soul eater. When he attacks you, he starts sucking the essence of life out of you, out of your soul. He is in essence eating your soul. He is feasting on your soul. Okay, you got that? This is weird stuff, I know. But that's the difference in them, okay? And that's all I'm going to hit on about the vampires tonight. This is a subject. Vampires need a whole show by itself. I may even do a seminar on one night. I don't know. Because it needs a whole thing by itself that is so deep and so complicated and so different. It's a fascinating subject, though, vampires alone. But there are vampires, basically, I'm going to say this. 9 out of 10 real true vampires. I'm not talking about human vampires now. I'm talking about reanimated dead vampires, whatever situation they be in. Supernatural vampires, put it that way, because they have a supernatural ability about them. And there is a vampire that is completely supernatural. So it's not actually a dead body. It's more of a spiritual being, okay? These vampires, 9 out of 10 of them do not feast on blood. They feast on the life essence of a person. They draw the breath out of you. They draw the life essence out of your soul. They are eating to living on your or feasting on your soul. Okay, that's a weird thing to think about. And I've been asked this question, and nobody really can answer this. Okay, do they actually consume your entire soul? I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Do they have that? I don't think they do. I don't think they're allowed to do that, but that's why they're called soul eaters. Okay, there are certain entities that do this, not just vampires. Supposedly, they will eat your soul. There's a lot of question among demonologists and people who study the supernatural if that could really be accomplished, because your soul is given to you by God. It is created by God, or whatever way you want to look at it. Your soul is an internal, immortal thing. Can something consume your soul? You can sell your soul. What you're basically doing, you're not actually selling the soul, you're selling yourself out to the darkness or the devil or whatever title you want to give it to. But uh, does these things, are they able to? I just don't see how they could do that, because this is something, I think, a line that God has drawn, that you just don't do that. Okay, but they are living the essence of life out of you. Definitely, they are taking life out of you. They will kill you. They are feeding on the essence of your life, without a doubt. But the soul eating thing is still up in the air about that. We don't really know. Abbott says the Vatican has appointed an army of exorcists for these times before they had a handful. Oh, absolutely, they need an army, because demonic activity, like I said on our good seminar we had the other night on angels, I hope everybody enjoyed that. All about angels. If you haven't seen it, please go back and watch it. It'll be worth your while. As I said about that, demonic and angelic activity are on the increase. Definitely, without a doubt, more so than the world has ever known before. Let me say that again. More so than the world has ever known before. Because we are coming down the line, folks, to the last days. Okay, without a doubt. We are living right now in the last days. Okay, without a doubt. And we're going to be talking about that in a little while here, all about the 3 days of darkness. Okay, I'm going to get to that in a little while. But anyway, that's about the vampires. Now, moving along. Up next, we have. All right, let me get back on my page here. Okay, next up, that was the soul eaters. I was talking about the soul eaters a little bit on that. Now we got to get to the non-human entities and the non-player characters. I'm gonna leave them for last, because this is gonna blow your mind when I talk to you. We're gonna talk about how you think here in a minute. Okay. Alcohol says selling your dominion and salvation. Yeah, you do. That's how you sell your soul. You throw yourself over to the other guys. Okay, soul contract. You live your life, and when you die, then they come to collect your soul. Said Midwest. Absolutely. When you sell out to the forces of darkness, there will be a price to pay, and that price is your eternal soul. Okay, that's it. They don't grab your soul and put it in a purse and walk off with it. Your soul is already theirs. You're in with them. You've sold out. You're going to share in the same fate that they share in. And that had, I think, someone made a remark on the seminar the other night. How could a just God roast somebody in hellfire? God does not do that. And I will say this again, very important to realize is, hell and the lake of fire were never made, never created for you or for me. That was never to be our destiny. Never. It was created for the fallen angels and their leader. That is their destiny. But if you sign up with them, that's going to be your destiny too. You're the one that has control over that. God doesn't do that. You're the one that puts yourself either in heaven or hell. That's your responsibility, okay? Not nobody else's, but yours. Nobody to blame but you, okay? When you stand before the throne of God and they say you've done this, and they open the books and show you every thought you ever thought, every action you ever done, every intention of your heart, there are not going to be any excuses that day, folks. You're not going to say, well, I didn't, it's somebody else's fault, not mine. It's all going to be laid in your lap, because it's your responsibility. It was your actions. Actions speak louder than words. It was your actions. It was what you did that determines what your destiny will be. Nobody else. I can't punch your ticket. You can't punch my ticket. You're responsible for your ticket and yours alone. Nobody else's but yours. Okay, that's all I got to say about that, and that's very plain. Now, getting back to non-human entities. Now, I've said this before, and a lot of people say, "Dennis, you're a few fries short of a happy meal here." Okay, uh, there are beings out there walking around on the streets, and I'm not talking about angels, that are non-human entities. Okay, some people believe they are aliens from other galaxies, and there may be some out there. I do not believe without a doubt. This is what my old friend Jack Burton used to say. Jack Burton says, I'm not saying I've seen everything, I've been everywhere and done everything, but I do know this is a pretty amazing planet we live on here. A man would have to be some kind of fool to believe that we're all alone in this universe. Jack Burton, a Big Trouble in Little China. Okay. How very true that statement is. I think you'd have to be stupid to say you're all along in this universe. I do not believe that. Or universes. There are probably more than one universe here, folks. Okay. So anyway, I believe that without a doubt. And there's a good possibility there could be something out there like that walking around. But that's not the only thing out there walking around. There are non-human entities that are demonic. Demons walking around now. They look like people. And there may be other things besides that. We don't know. We call them non-human entities. They are entities of non-human origin. Okay? They have never been human. They never will be. But they may look like human. And just like I said earlier about the conspiracy theory thing, you can't believe everything you see or hear. Everything that you see in this universe, everything, you got to watch out about it because it may not be what it appears to be. Okay? Don't forget that. That's a very important lesson. Along with the fact that you always expect the unexpected from these things. Okay? Always expect the unexpected. That's what you got to do. My friend Jessica's in here. Hello, Jessica. Said, I've run into several non-human humans. I have too. And it's not a good thing. Definitely not, Jessica. And these things are out there. And I warn people that's what you're dealing with. And I think a lot of these things that people are seeing, the black-eyed kids, the non-human people that they see, some of them may be vampires. And those vampires I talked about earlier, they are supernatural vampires, not human vampires. They're human, okay? These things are not human, okay? They may have once been human, but they're no longer human, okay? But some of these non-human entities have never been humans. And some of these things walking around out there, for all we know, could be robots. Like I've said before about this, the perfect training ground for androids or even clones would be to put them out in public and see how the public reacts to them and how they react to the public. Perfect experimental working ground is the public. And don't believe without one second's hesitation that the government won't stop to do that. Oh, definitely. It would surprise me even more if they didn't do that. Okay, let's put it that way. Because I know how they think. I know they weaponize everything. And they're looking at it that way, definitely. So don't forget, those are the non-human entities. You may run into these things. And when I do a show on vampires again, I definitely am going to tell about the story about the lady who runs a bookshop that actually had a vampire show up in her bookshop. Oh, that's a freaky story. I want to definitely tell you about that. But anyway, that's the non-human entities. Now getting a little closer into something really strange territory here, okay? And I want you to listen very close to this subject. And this is the non-player characters. Okay? What are you talking about here, Dennis? What in the world is that? Okay? Well, let me explain it to you in simple terms. Okay? You're playing a video game. Okay? And like if you were one of my favorite video games was Uncharted. I don't know if any of you have ever played that. Uncharted is a great game, great computer game. That's where you're following Drake's Uncharted adventures, and he is the guy that's looking for Drake's treasure. You know, the very famous Sir Francis Drake. And it's called Uncharted. It's a great adventure type video game. Okay, but I'm just going to use it for an illustration. You're the player. Okay, you control the character. You tell it to jump up or jump down or shoot a gun or do whatever it needs to do. You're in control of that character. But listen very close to what I'm about to say. Everybody else in the game is controlled by a consciousness of the computer. Okay, that's how you got to put it. It has a consciousness. It is the consciousness of the computer controls all of the other non-player characters. You got me now? Something else is controlling these, and they're not in control. Now, listen to very closely what I'm about to say. How do you think? Okay? Think about this a minute. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. When you think in your mind, when you're alone in a room, do you have a monologue going in your mind? Are you talking to yourself? Are you saying, I should do this or I should do that? Or, oh, this ceiling looks high. Or, boy, it's kind of cold in here. Are you talking to yourself? Now, I'm not talking about hearing voices. Okay? I'm not talking about you're going bonkers. You're hearing all kind of voices telling you to do things. I'm talking about you're talking to yourself. That's consciousness. Okay? Do you have that going on in your head? Okay? And also, do you have images going on in your head? When I say the word apple, do you instantly visualize an apple? You do, and you do it without thinking about it, okay? Because that's the way your brain works. That means you're a player character. You're in control of yourself. But if you sit around in your head, there's no thoughts going around, there's no monologue going on, there's no visualization going on, you may be a non-player character. And let me tell you this about non-player characters, okay? They do not have a soul. There's something going on. There's something not right here, folks. If you're not thinking with your brain like that, there's something wrong, okay? Are you a clone? Are you something else? What the heck are you? Because you're a non-player character. You're not like the rest of us. I hope it's not. Anyway. If you don't have that monologue going on, think about it now, okay? Stop and think about it. Abbott says, Hoffman says that measuring observer effect on them non-player characters for AI. Absolutely. They want to understand what's going on with non-player characters because of AI that can fill in that gap. They want AI to become conscious, just like we are. What I'm talking about here are regular human thought processes. And that's why I've said many times, now listen to this. I've said this many times before. It's very dangerous to blank your mind. Do not do that. It's very dangerous to let your mind go blank. Now, I'm not talking about when you're trying to go to sleep and all that. You're still thinking, by the way. Even the thought processes are still going on while you're going into deep sleep, okay? Sometimes that shows up as dreams. Anyway, never blank your mind. I don't care what you're doing. Do not do that because that sort of opens a spiritual doorway to the inside of you. And you don't want to do that, okay? You want to always be in control of your player, okay? Because you don't want somebody else to come in and get control of your player. That, my friends, is what's called demonic possession. Pure and simple. And there are different levels. I'm going to blow your mind here for a moment. There are different levels of conscious demonic possession. You may not even know you are being possessed. Okay? We call this deep demonic influence, direct demonic influence, DDI. If you fall under direct demonic influence, you can be controlled without you realizing you are being controlled. Just like you all of a sudden come to yourself, you're in your car, but somebody else is driving. That's what this is all about. And that's where it comes down to non-player characters. If they don't have the thoughts going on, if you don't have that visualization going on in your mind, that's how we like. If I say orange, you should immediately think of an orange, big round orange. Okay, I mean that should be a visualization in your mind. If your mind's blank, And if you don't have that interior monologue going on, where you're talking to yourself in your mind, okay, that's what that basically is. If that's not going on, you may be a non-player character, okay? There's something definitely wrong with that, okay? Abbott says Christians can only be oppressed, others can be possessed. Well, that's true. If you have God in you, if you have the Spirit of God in you, there's no room. Jesus said it. If your eye is dark, then all of you will be dark. But if your eye is light, then the light is greater. But it said, if your eye is dark, then how great is that darkness? It's consuming you, see. So where there is light, there can be no room for darkness. Okay? There can be no room for it. All right, so don't forget that. That's very important. I've had a lot of people ask me that. Say, Mr. Carl, can I be walking down the street and bam, I get possessed all of a sudden? No, they don't happen that way. Okay, that does not happen. You have to open doorways into your very existence in order for these things to come in. And it's done in different ways, folks. It's done by your lifestyle. It's done by drugs, alcohol. Alcohol is one of the worst. Let me say something about all the health conscious people out there, okay? How can you say I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to do this and all this when you consume alcohol on too great of a level? That's the worst thing you can put in your body. It not only does things to your brain, it does things to the rest of your body. It's cancer causing too. They don't want you to know this, but it is. This is some of the worst stuff you can put in your body. If you're health conscious, why are you doing that? You're really a hypocrite, okay? I call them health conscious hypocrites because that's what they are. You're doing bad on one hand and trying to do good on the other. Where are you going to get like that, That's stupid, crazy. But people do that, okay? But you can open the door. Like I said, blanking the mind. There's certain exercises you can do with the mind that opens these doorways. Be very, very careful. Do not give these guys an opportunity. Because I assure you, just as sure as you're looking at me right now, they will take that opportunity if you give it to them. And that's why I've warned people all over the world about this in many different ways. Do not give these things an opportunity in your life. Okay? That's all you got to worry about when it comes to that. But if you are a non-player character, there's something definitely wrong. And you have to wonder if a non-player character is really human. Okay, if they're not like a clone. And that's why I have to wonder about clones. Would they be non-player characters? You got to wonder about some of that stuff. But it's freaky subject, definitely. We'll talk some more about that later, but that's the non-player thing, okay? And definitely weird stuff. Rum and tobacco offered to voodoo spirits. Absolutely. Anything that heightens the sensitivity opens you up to spiritual influence. Okay, whatever it is, if it's peyote, if it's alcohol, tobacco, narcotics of any kind, even caffeine to a certain degree, can open you up to spiritual influences, good or bad. Usually bad, because what you're doing is like I said, you're giving them an opportunity. And the goodness in this universe is not waiting on an opportunity. It has to be invited in and taken in. But evil is waiting for just a little bit of an invitation to kick a door and open and come on in. That's the way evil works, okay? So don't give them that opportunity. To be very careful how you do stuff like that. That includes sound therapy. That includes even types of physical therapy like yoga and all that stuff. That includes chakras and all that, the chakras and all that stuff. Got to be very careful what you're dealing with here, okay? Be very, very careful because these things are waiting, like I said, to kick that door in and come on in. Mind altered is more easily fooled and more easily controlled. Absolutely. Okay, we're going to move to another interesting subject, okay? A lot of people have been waiting on. I've had a lot of input on this. And it is very interesting. The 3 days of darkness. Now, I want to pull up some. I want to read you about that, okay? And let me get it up here. Uh, what are the 3 days of darkness? A lot of people say, what are you talking about here? Okay, I want to explain that a little bit before we get too deep into it. But I'm going to read you what this says here. And it's a little bit long, but not too bad. This is what it says about the 3 days of darkness. Now, this is being taught in a lot of the auspices of the Catholic Church around amongst a lot of Catholic people. Okay, and this is what they're saying. First and foremost, you must prepare by having a firm and solid foundation in the love and protection of Jesus Christ. You must know without a shadow of a doubt that God will protect you through this and that you have nothing to fear. Secondly, you should stock up on candles, lighters, batteries, and flashlights so that you have some portable light sources and pray over them so that they will work. Thirdly, you should stock up on food that doesn't require electricity to eat and make sure to buy enough for 3 days. Fourth, and this is just something I would do, you could pray a prayer of protection. Psalm 91 is really good. And you could anoint your home with holy oil. Fifth, do not go outside or open your door to anyone. I do not care who they are, even neighbors, even family members. If they are outside in the darkness, then they are planning to do harm or evil deeds. Do not let them in. 6, make sure you cover all your windows. Do not let anyone see that you have light. This could make you a target to the evil people outside. And lastly, 7th, make sure you remind yourself of God's goodness and protection power during all of this. Speak scripture and sing songs yourself to keep yourself at peace. Okay, and listen to this. This is how you know the sign of this taking place will be an unmistakable cosmic event that when you see it, if you are saved, you will immediately let you know that this is taking place. And if you want some examples of unmistakable events, some dreams I've seen said that they saw things like a new planet that's as close to the moon as it is to the earth, 3 moons appearing at night, 3 moons appearing in the daytime, and a giant cloud that has the moon in it and is half dark and half light, so the sign of it happening is not. Soon after these troubles of those days, the sun will grow dark, the moon will no longer shine, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers in space will be driven from their courses. Now, according to the Catholics, if you have beeswax candles, and matter of fact, I do have one I use. It is a blessed candle. It is supposed to give off a blessed light. It is, but it's got to be blessed. Okay, beeswax candles are the only things that supposedly will give light during this period. Now, I'm not trying to scare you and all that, and I'm not saying. I think a lot of this is conjecture because there was a certain Catholic lady back in the 1800s who predicted all this, and that's what they're going by here with the 3 days of darkness. Okay. Hey, John. Good to have you here, Ronald. The 3 days of darkness is a prophecy given out by this lady, but it corresponds supposedly with the 10 plagues over Egypt. In the book of Exodus, it says that God told Moses, "Raise up your hands, Moses, to the sky." And when Moses raised his hand, the darkness fell over the land of Egypt, so dark that nobody could see the next person in front of them. We're talking about a spiritual, like weird darkness where you can't see anything. If you've ever been out in the woods, way away from any light source of any kind on a dark night, and I have been many, many times, you don't know what real darkness is. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. That's real darkness, folks, okay? That's what this kind of darkness is they're talking about here. But it's also, on one hand, sort of like a spiritual darkness. But this lady says that when this 3 days of darkness happens, it will be like the plague in Egypt. It'll be one of these things that, let me put this up, that goes with biblical prophecy. And it falls into line with this. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, and that's Jesus, by the way, has overcome to open the scroll and its seven seals. That's Revelation 5:5. That is, Jesus left this world as a lamb. He will come back, my friends, as a lion, the Lion of Judah. But he is the only one worthy to open the scroll with the seven seals. And the fifth seal is a plague of darkness, okay? But it doesn't say it lasts 3 days. It doesn't say that, okay? It doesn't have a time thing on it. And it doesn't say a lot about what this lady said, that there's going to be demons in this darkness. If you go outside in this darkness, they will kill you. There's evil things going on. Anybody outside in this darkness will be evil. That's what she's warning about in this prophecy. And the only blessed light that will give light will be blessed beeswax candles. Why beeswax, you might ask? Well, the reason beeswax has always been used in a lot of church services because they are pure natural wax from the bees, okay? And anything like sea salt is real salt. That's what I use. If you're going to use a real candle, not a man-made candle, it's a beeswax candle, okay? But the trick with this candle is it has to be blessed, okay? Just like I talked about the silver bullets and the silver daggers that kill the Wendigo, all these things have to be blessed in order for this to work, okay? That's just how that goes. That includes the holy water, the oil, the salt, the crosses, whatever it is you're using, it has to be blessed, okay? And so does this beeswax candle. Now, in the plague of Egypt in Moses' day, when this darkness fell, the only people that had light were the Israelites because they had God. He is the light of the world, okay? Don't forget that. So if there is a true time of the 3 days of darkness coming, if you have the light of God with you, you will not be in darkness, okay? But like she says in this prophecy, don't go outside. Well, it would be a good idea if something like that would happen, definitely not to go outside. Or be ready, be prepared. Those who are prepared. Listen, there used to be an old saying in the church, those who are prepared in the Lord are doubly blessed. Think about that a moment, okay? So anyway, the whole thing in a nutshell is that's the prophecy of this woman. It's not in the Bible, okay? But a lot of people say there's a correlation between the plagues of Egypt and the seven seals, okay? The plagues of Egypt and the scroll I just put up about, the scroll with seven seals. There is a little bit of a coordination there, okay? But I do not see a 3 days of darkness thing, and I don't see. Now, the only way, okay, let me explain this to you. The only way that there's going to come a kind of a period of darkness on this planet, there's going to have to be something happen like this big, terrible earthquake, and there is in the Bible predicted to be an earthquake that the world has never known before. It will shake this world from one corner to the other. It will knock down everything just about. When that earthquake takes place, it will cause volcanic activity. It will cause dead volcanoes to come alive. We know that that's supposed to happen with Yellowstone, and places like that. Then you have great volcanic activity. When that happens, clouds of dust will rise, and they will cover and black out the sun and the moon, okay? And if you listen to what the prophecy says in the book of Revelation, a third of the sun will be darkened. That's almost half, okay? And the moon will look like blood, wine, okay? Opposite, there's not going to be any blood on the moon. The moon's not going to turn to blood. It turns to look like blood, okay? It turns reddy looking. Why? What does that sound like? That sounds like a lot of dust in the atmosphere. That sounds like a cataclysmic event taking place. And we've had that happen before on this planet. There was a day back in 1780-something when there was no sunrise. Well, there was a sunrise, but there was no sun shining. because it was a volcanic explosion that took place in the Caribbean. Then so much dust went in the air that it blocked out the sun that day. They at noon time they had to run in the streets with torches. People couldn't see where they were going. It was dark. It's midnight almost. It said that the chickens went to roost. Nature didn't know how to handle this. It was a day supposedly without the sun. Okay. And also, there was another time back in 1803, I believe it was, somewhere back in there. It's the same year that the novel Frankenstein was written. I think it was about 1813, something like that, but whatever it was. That there was a year without summer. We don't know how many people died because of this, but it was caused by a volcanic eruption. So much dust in the air, it kept the sun from heating the earth like it's supposed to. There was a year without summer. And it was like snowing. Frost fell in July in certain places of the world. Think about that a moment. These things have happened before, and what you see in the book of Revelation are these things that are going to happen again like that. When God does stuff, he usually is doing it in a natural way, in a very unnatural kind of way to do it, order in which it's done. I know that sounds weird, but that's just the way that goes. And what you see happening in the book of Revelation are things being done that way. You're seeing the signs in the heavens it talks about. You're seeing the sun blacked out. You're seeing the moon not looking like it's supposed to. You're seeing that for a reason, okay? And the stars of heaven are falling. One star in particular will fall, destroy a good bit of the ocean. That is a comet hitting this planet, folks. That's what it is. And when a comet, there will be other little pieces of this comet hit. And that's the stars falling, not the stars that are suns up there. When the Bible talks about these stars, you're talking about meteors. Okay, you're talking about a bad, horrific kind of a meteor shower that's going to hit not just one part of the earth, this is going to be the whole earth. So you're talking about cosmic events taking place that have never happened before. But I do not see the 3 days of darkness in there. I see a plague of darkness. It talks about darkness, but it may also be talking about a spiritual darkness as well. Okay. Okay, Ronald says I seen God when I was about 4 years old. Well, that's good. Well, I'd like to hear about that. Abbott says it's an offering, not a sacrifice to not be fulfilled by that. I've never heard all the particulars. You never hear it, never mention anymore. Fourth seal, the beast monsters run with death and pale horse to kill. Fourth of the mankind. He's going to bring up the east. Now, I've talked about this before, Abbott. During that period of time, the animals and all of nature is going to turn against us. Okay, all of nature, which truly belongs to God, although Satan has stolen this planet, God's going to get it back. But all of nature will rebel in a way about the sin of this world. And this world is infected with sin. That's what the big problem is here. Infected with evil and sin. All of the nature is going to turn against us. And that includes the animals. That includes the ocean, the atmosphere, what we breathe, everything. And even cosmic things are going to turn against us. You got this comet hitting the earth. You got these meteors hitting the earth. You got these volcanoes going off. You've got an earthquake like the world has never seen before. They say this will crack the earth like an egg almost. Okay, this will be the worst earthquake ever recorded. Okay, and there was an earthquake, I think, in the 1700s in India that was felt in Scotland. Think about that a minute. Wow, felt in Australia and in Scotland. That's quite an earthquake, my friends. But that's nothing compared to what the book of Revelation talks about on that. But as for the 3 days of darkness, I don't see 3 days and mentioned in that. Now, they've got a lot of trying to connecting this up with the coming eclipse. In order for there to be 3 days of darkness during the eclipse, the Earth would have to stop rotating. And the planets would stop moving. That's not going to happen because we would all die that day, okay? That's not going to happen that way. The 3 days of darkness are not going to come in that way, okay? There's no way that's going to happen. God's not going to do that, If there is a 3 days of darkness or any kind of a period of darkness, it will come because of volcanic dust and ash. That's the only way I can see that accomplished in the natural order of things. Okay. So there you go. That's the comet caused the flood, hit and destroyed vapor can be firmament in the North American ice sheet. Comets have hit this planet before. Oh yeah, definitely. And look at the moon. They've hit the moon as well. We're way overdue for one hitting us. Okay. And that's where you get that star wormwood. Wormwood is its name. It will destroy a third of the ocean, and kill about a third of mankind. When you look in the book of Revelation, it's future events. You're looking at cataclysmic conditions going on. This is not just a little bit something to be felt over here, over there. The whole world will be affected by these things, without a doubt. Good evening, Emily. Good evening, I'm late, but I'm here now. Okay, Roger. Better early than never. But anyway, that's what you're looking at. But the 3 days of darkness is supposed to be a terrible time. What I read about what this woman said, there's going to be demons all out in the darkness and all that. And I'm not saying that could not be. Just certainly not be possible that could happen. I don't know. I'm not a prophet, okay? But this is what the woman prophesied. That's what they're basing this on. And she's kind of like Mother Shipton. I can't think of her name. Tagzi or something like that. She was Italian. Anyway, she was a very blessed saint, supposedly. She supposedly had visions of this happening back in 1870 or something, I think. But anyway, there was the 3 days of darkness. But they're linking this up with the plagues in Egypt, which is what happened then. But even then, in the middle of that, God's people had a light. So if you're on the right side, you're always going to have the light. Okay? But that's a good thing to think about. All right. Okay, but that's your 3 days of darkness thing. But like I said, I do not see that mentioned specifically in the book of Revelation. Okay. A lot of the plagues and stuff are kind of coordinated with the Egyptian thing that happened on that. So you have to kind of coordinate them a little bit. But there will be other different things going on. What happened in Egypt was just in Egypt. It didn't happen anywhere else. Okay. But when you look at the book of Revelation, it's a worldwide thing. It's not just localized. Okay. So it does it on a much bigger and larger scale in that respect. When they think it's peace, safety, and destruction. That will be the thing with the abbot, with the promises of the Antichrist. He will offer them peace and safety, but he will give them destruction. It is given unto the Antichrist to make war with the saints, and he shall overcome them. He will kill a lot of the saints. And like I said, I've seen the machine already made, fixed for mass decapitation of people. It's already there. It's supposed to be humane. It's not supposed to hurt when they take your head off. But the Antichrist will win over the saints because the people of earth cannot deal with the Antichrist. He will have to be dealt with by the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's who will deal with all of this, not us. Unfortunately, we will be victims of a lot of it, but we may lose our lives, but we will gain our lives. We will gain immortality. Probably why earth and heavens are revived and made new after the millennium. Absolutely, everything has to be made new again. Everything, if you look at the Bible, it starts in Genesis and ends the very same way in Revelation. And I, John, saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old earth and the old heaven were passed away, and all things were made new again. Everything is reset back to what exactly was supposed to be at the very beginning. There will be no sin left, nothing like that. There will be no death, pain, sorrow, and all that will be gone. Everything will be made new again. The animals will love us again. There will be no hatred between us and the animals. no animosity. Everything will be good again, back to the original plan that God had to begin with. That's where we end up, and that's a good thought. That's like I've heard a lot of people say. I know how it all ends because I've read the book. Okay, and it does end in a good way. And as true Christians, we should be saying, "Hurry up and do this, Lord, because we're ready for it. Hurry up." That's what it says at the end of the book of Revelation. Even so, Lord, come quickly. Do this, hurry up and do this, because we're waiting to have everything made new again, everything back the way it should have been to begin with, without any sin, without any of these death and the grave and all this other stuff. It has been conquered. It has been put underfoot by the King of Kings. He won. He conquered. He said, "I won all things." Every knee and every knee will bow, every tongue will confess, "I am Lord of Lords and King of Kings." I've done everything. He's done it all. And we should wait for his day. His day is coming. And when it does, it will be in our favor. As long as we haven't sold out to the bad guys. As long as we haven't put our destiny in with the wrong crowd, okay? It's like your mom and your dad used to tell you years ago when you were young and crazy, don't run with the wrong crowd, okay? Stay with the right guys. That's why I said it in my seminar on angels, okay? If you haven't seen it, you need to go back and watch it. I want to be on the side of the angels. I'm not worried about them being on my side. I want to be on their side. Then you know you're in the right category, okay? And that's the way it goes with that. And look how many how many lands have been destroyed, how many families and people have been destroyed in the name of God. God didn't want that. They thought that God was on their side. What they were doing was right. That's the way evil fools you into doing stuff, to make you think that what you're doing is okay. It's right. You should do this. You got a right to do this. Yeah, that's the way evil tries to get you to work. But that's not what God was. We should be on God's side, not him on our side. Because when we got something like that on our side, we always do wrong things. But when we're on the side of God, we should be doing right things. And that's the way that works. Revelation 18:11 is the consumer nation, China, the number one consumer nation now. China is the kings of the east that will march across the Euphrates River. China and India. I think in the end, keep your eyes on India, because India is selling out to China big time. Keep your eyes on them. They are the kings of the East. Russia may not even have anything to do with it. As it said in the thing about Gog and Magog, God said to Russia, "I will put jaws in your hooks and I'll pull you out and scatter you on the hills of Judea." Russia may not even be around for any of that. Okay. But definitely China and India, them's the ones you got. And of course, most of the East, Vietnam, Cambodia, and all those would be in with that. Definitely some of that too. Will be the kings of the East that march across the Euphrates River. Yeah, thank you about that seminar, Kyle. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And the next seminar coming up, by the way, I'm going to be teaching out of my book, Beyond the Shadows, a field guide to the paranormal. My friend Gerald's got a copy of that, by the way. And I'm going to be teaching out of that. And it's going to be very interesting how to hunt the shadows. Okay. I'm going to be teaching how you do investigative research. And this will help you out even if you do an armchair research. Okay. By that we mean just sitting there on your computer, reading books or whatever thing. This will help you out with that too, not just in the field research. Okay. You're in line at KFC, huh? Oh, that sounds good. Get a chicken leg for me, bud. All right. That's my favorite part of the chicken. I love chicken legs. I like the breast too, though. I'm a breast and leg man. My wife got released from the hospital today. Oh, okay. On Good Friday. That's good. That's wonderful. Mike, glad to hear that. We will definitely be praying for her. So I need to go to bed. Okay, Ronald, take care. I hope you have a good sleep, friend. And we were coming up close here to the end of the program anyway. So, uh, yeah, Glass, I hope your wife's doing better there, Mike Jones. Definitely keep us informed. And uh, want to say good night. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's been an interesting show. I said we were going to cover a lot of strange ground, a lot of high strangeness out there, definitely. And we have some strange times ahead of us too, unfortunately, I think. There used to be an old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. And I think that curse is in full force tonight, definitely. We are living in some interesting times, and I'm not saying interesting in a good way either. Definitely. But I wanna stress another point. This country has been invaded. And don't forget that. Stay on your toes, keep your head on a swivel, watch your six. Wherever you go, whatever you do, my friends. Things are not like it used to be. We've been invaded by a lot of bad characters. Talk about non-player characters. These are just bad actor characters, okay? And we've got a lot of them out there. So be very careful. I worry about your safety because that is tantamount in these times. Things are getting very bad out there. And you want to be very careful where you go and what you do. And by the way, I've got my Egyptian fly swatter out here. We used to have a joke about that in archaeology. The pharaohs were buried with one of these and their staff. You're buried with your fly swatter. All right, you're a pharaoh if you're buried with your fly swatter. That's the way that was. Okay, my fly swatter is a real horse's tail, by the way. Horse's tail fly swatter. It's good on other things too. I won't get into that tonight. But anyway, it's good on some of these flies around here, human flies. I'm not going to call them what they really are. But anyway, I appreciate you being here with us tonight. I hope, we stretched our minds a little bit. I learned a few things. And I thank you for being here and thank you for your time. And join us again for episode 14 next week of Paranormal Point of View. May have one of you on here. We're going to be looking at that and actually having maybe two of you come on here and talk about some of your paranormal experiences or whatever. And we will be pointing out another podcast. We'll put the finger on Jessica tonight on the Cryptid Huntress on her podcast. And we'll do one next week. We're gonna put the finger on Midwest Night Watchers next week and talk about them. And keep us in mind during the week there. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend and an even better week next week. I want to say good night to all of you. And take care. Be careful out there. Like I said, keep that head on swivel now. And like I say, things are not like they used to be. This is a much, much, much more dangerous world than we have ever known before. So let's keep our wits about us, okay? Have a good Friday to you all. And I hope you have a great Easter. Remember the very famous thing about Easter, the empty tomb. Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is alive and alive forevermore, and through him we can be alive too. So I thank you all for being here tonight, and raise the cup, my friend, until we meet again, the parting cup. And take care of yourselves. Remember what I always say, Godspeed, embrace the mystery, and the doorways of perception are open.